missing a like? I feel like I am. No, maybe not. Hello, and we are live. I hate it that the Christmas tree, if you notice, I don't know about your screen, but the Christmas tree in the back is blurry. And that is very aggravating because instead of using a camera like most people do, I'm using my computer.
It's a little better than it was last night.
It is a little better. I actually cleaned the screen. There's some issues I think that we have. Hello, if you've just joined us, welcome to our world. But there are some issues with the screen just a little bit. I think it might be the camera. I don't know. But, hey, I'm just glad that we've got 4 people in here already. Be sure to hit the like button as you come in and chat it up. It's time to talk. Welcome. My name is Bill Marion, and this is A Nose for Life. And tonight we are talking about, well, we'll get to that in just a minute. Welcome to Vlogmas Part 3. Somebody's blowing me up on the phone. You got it? Excellent. Tonight we're having literature class. Well, not really. Just thought I would share some things in the Christmas spirit. Hello, Christopher Hines. What's up? Good to see you, man. Welcome. This is going to be interesting if you stick with it. You got to stick with tonight's chat to kind of understand where we're going if we get there. Because on this channel, we always end up talking about aliens and Bigfoot. I don't know why, but it happens. We can start talking about Tolstoy and all kinds of fame, Shakespeare, and then it ends up aliens and Bigfoot. I don't know. It's just how it rolls. Anyway, I was looking through my bookshelf, just going through my books because it's time to give books away, get rid of books and buy more books I read. And because that's still a thing, believe it or not, reading. It's still, you can still do it. And so even though YouTube is great, I always recommend people pick up a book. But I was going through books that I had to read going through college and how some of them are just kind of weird now in the situation and just the discussions that we're in today. And it was crazy because, it's Vlogmas. We're in the Christmas season. And so it's interesting because most of the time when I was in my early 20s, like going to college, 18 to 20 something, I wasn't a good student until I was like 24, 25. Then when I went back to school, I was actually a pretty good student, but not when I was younger. But I saved a lot of my textbooks. And the reason why I saved them is because when I tried to sell them at the end of the semester, they would update the book and you couldn't sell them. So I ended up keeping them. And I'm thankful for my mom because my mom actually would store them for me. And so now I still have these old textbooks. But this is a textbook. It's called Measurement and Assessment in Teaching. And this was one of my later textbooks. And if you go through here, through the textbook and just kind of skim through it, and I won't give a whole lot of examples, but it's funny how education has changed in the past 20 years and in the past 10 years before that. I would always recommend if you're going through the yard sale and you see like an old textbook or something, especially education, if you love math, as far as teaching math, that would be great because you could find different methods that people have used in the past. But just looking through this education book and thinking about the topics now, and I don't want to get into any details, but how things have changed in such a short amount of time. It's just crazy. Another book that I found fascinating, and again, last night, the video, it's hilarious. I got to tell the story before I show this other book. Because it was crazy. My video last night, it was lighthearted, fluffy, and fun. I wore a Santa Claus hat. We were celebrating the beginning of Vlogmas, and it was great. I have no idea what we could have possibly said that wouldn't have been advertiser friendly. I don't know. I think we had a total by this morning of like 106 views. I don't know. It's not a huge channel, but that's fine. But because the advertisements on there were limited or whatever, like it didn't make its usual 20 cents or 10 cents or whatever because there wasn't any advertising on here. I have no idea what we said. But this next book that I'm going to show you is probably going to get this video demonetized. So, hey, man, you can always send me $10,000 through PayPal. It'd be great. Juan Thomas said, last night was good. It was. That was awesome. But you know what made it awesome, Juan? I mean, just seriously, what made it awesome is people talking. It isn't even me. It's the community. We have a great community. My goal this year is, I've said this for the past 2 years, and I have epically failed because it's the life balance part of YouTube, fitting it in to what I'm called to do and my passion and what God's called me to do. It's very difficult sometimes to fit that in. So, but this coming year, I'm committing myself again to do live chats because we have a great community and we love to chat it up. It's a lot of fun. You guys make the chat great. I'm just here. I'm just a facilitator of conversation. Anyway, back to this book real quick, Juan. This is really cool. This was a book that was required reading. I'm saying this for the algorithm. or for the powers to be. This was a required reading book at an accredited college. So I should not be demonetized for this book, what I'm showing you. It's called Biohazard, okay? And I'm just saying, okay, listen. I had this class. It was a Cold War class. It was studying the Cold War. It was a seminar class, very reading heavy. You had to read like 2 books a week or something like that. It's very tense. I loved the class. The most amazing professor taught this class. I had him for many classes. He changed my way of thinking about a lot of ways. I owe him so much. He is just wonderful. And this was one of the books, Biohazard. And it's basically the Cold War, what took place after the Cold War when it comes to chemical weapons and things like that. Pretty amazing book. But in 2020, when you read this book, which was required in college to read, this is not fake news. This is required reading 20 years ago. And when you put this into context with 2020, it's really weird. I'm just saying it's really weird. Another professor I had, no, we're doing a book review kind of. Isn't this cool? It's different for our channel. It's kind of experimental. And you guys are not chatting. We need to work on this. You need to chat. Right now is when you can ask me questions about any of our videos. Remember, I said that last night. Any questions over our videos, where we've been, all that stuff. If you want to know the nitty gritty about some stuff, which I am going to share here shortly, it's going to be kind of cool. But last book here that I wanted to share. This is one of my favorites. It's written by one of my professors in college, Dr. Durwood Dunn. He's gone on to be the Lord. He's passed over the River Jordan. He passed away a few years ago. That book is one of it has a most printed somewhere. In other words, UT, I think, was the first to print it, and it's broken all kinds of records. If you love Cades Cove down in Tennessee, I know we have a lot of viewers either from the Appalachian Mountains or live around the Appalachian Mountains or just love the Appalachian Mountains. We have a lot of subscribers in that area that know Cades Cove. And he's kind of like the official guru of everything there is to know about Cades Cove. This isn't just a book of facts. It is the story of Cades Cove. It's history all the way forward until the national park kind of absorbed it, or Tennessee absorbed it. And now when you do the loop around there, you see certain things and you get the image of what Cades Cove, the interpretation of what Cades Cove is. Because Dr. Dunn tells a different story than what you see in Cades Cove. At Cades Cove, for many years, for a little over 100 years, Cades Cove was a community. It was a community. And so he tells the story of the people. All of it is historically accurate, and it's absolutely beautiful. If you go to Cades Cove, this book is sold there at the park. It is a tell-all true story, and it's wonderful. And I knew this guy, and you talk about a true academic scholar, a true historian, Durwood Dunn, Cades Cove. This is worth your time. The reason why I mentioned this with these other 2 books that change over time, when you drive around any national park or when you drive around a state park, always keep in mind you are experiencing an interpretation of that area through time. Cades Cove is no exception. They wanted to return Cades Cove to its original pioneers, pre-settlers. They wanted to return it to a natural look. But understand, if you had gone through Cades Cove 50, 60 years ago, well, more than that now, probably 65 years ago, it was a happening place. There were stores there. There were of course, there's churches there because some of those churches are still there. But it was a community, and an amazing community at that. So if you love Cades Cove, I don't make any money off this. I'm not sponsored. So this isn't what you'd call official product placement. This is just one of those awesome books. And just talking about how over time the way we perceive and describe things, it does change. Juan Thomas says, I remember when 1984 was required reading. Here it comes. Everyone should read it. Good eye-opener for these times. One of the books that I was going to bring out is a book about Karl Marx. And it was written, I want to say 51 years ago. And it's on the bookshelf, and I don't want to leave the camera. It's just right there, but I don't want to get up. But it's about Karl Marx, and you can tell that it's during the Cold War that it's written, and it's not a very pleasant view of Karl Marx. And today it's a little different. Our viewpoint. I've watched things, educational discussions by some very prominent YouTubers that are supported with government money and everything else that speak of Karl Marx in a different way. I think Karl Marx was a fool personally, but what are you gonna do? But this video is definitely getting demonetized now. It's like it ain't happening. Blood Raven 1969 says, sadly, I can't type much while getting holiday ready here, but I'm enjoying listening. Hey, you know what? I'm enjoying that you're here, and I'm glad that you're here. So I guess you said you're getting your holiday ready. Basically, you're getting your holiday on. You know, the tree's going up, I'm assuming. Bells will be ringing. I mean, you're doing the whole thing. Music's going. We're with you. We're experiencing that with you. That's great. Christopher Hines says, Starship Troopers was required reading when I was in the Marines in the early 90s. Get out of here. Are you serious? I didn't know that. Starship Troopers, the movie. Now listen to me. Listen to me. Like, you gotta understand this. The movie was like CG, you know, it was early CGI. And it's supposed to be propaganda. It's supposed to be like showing you propaganda in a future setting or whatever. They did an amazing job. That film is surprisingly good. All the sequels are terrible, of course, but that first one, I watched it. I was in the Army when I watched it. It was like one of those times where training, it's like a rest day between training. And so the chaplain sets up all these TVs, and you got a few TVs set up, and you don't want to go in there because you might see something to put your eyes out. But then in one room, you have like a regular movie going on. And a lot of times you can see movies that hadn't been released yet to video or DVD. And that's where I experienced Starship Troopers, was with a whole bunch of other infantry guys just sitting around a TV and watching it. And it was awesome. I mean, it was like, oh my goodness, silly because of the propaganda and whatnot. Intentional propaganda, but what a great movie. I've never read the book, but I bet it's fun. If nothing else, I bet it's a real good time. What else is anybody reading anything else right now? Violet Johnson, AKA Mom. Violet Johnson says, stopped a Paris Hilton documentary to come to your channel.
Elvis?
Where's Elvis?
Yes.
You have sold Elvis out for Paris Hilton. What's up with Mom? Mom's always with the Elvis channels.
Go check her for a fever.
I'm gonna have to check. Mom might have the big COVID. I don't know.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm playing. By the way, if any of you have been affected by COVID, I want to tell you that our thoughts and our prayers are with you. One of my best friends, my son is named after this guy. We were very close. His name is Nathan. My son's name is Nathan. I talked to him last night for, I don't know, an hour and a half on the phone. I'm not going to mention his last name or anything, but his whole family. I mean, they got through it. They got through it. They're okay. But, it's affecting a lot of people. So just let's hang in there, man. Let's just hang in there. Let's keep going. Juan Thomas says, I've driven on Karl Marx Street in East Berlin. Back when Berlin had the wall around the city. Juan, man, you are telling us too many. I'm going to write a book, or with Ron's permission, just make a video about Juan and his secret agent days. If you're new to our channel, you may not understand this. This goes back a couple of years where we were all convinced that Juan is a secret agent. But I don't know. He's been to Berlin, driven around the wall. We know that he's a secret agent at this point. Secret agent, man. We had people actually sending that in last night too. The song, and it's crazy. So let me give you some dirt on one of our last videos. Some crazy dirt on not last videos. Let me go back to. It was the tower video about one of the largest towers in the state of West Virginia, or not the largest towers. It was just a fire tower, okay? Which I'm fascinated with all these fire towers over in West Virginia. I don't know why. It's kind of crazy. And you get over there, and what's so funny is that, and I don't say this in the video, but this one tower that we went to, I'll let you scroll through the videos and find it because I really don't want to make anybody mad in this video, but it's kind of shady. It was kind of shady. You get to the top, the tower's there. It's beautiful. You can see all the beautiful rolling mountains of West Virginia. And sun was going down early fall. So you have these warm, very warm days, but kind of cool evenings. But when you get there, it looks like a place that it's going down, man. You know what I'm saying? A place that would be in a movie, like where they're getting together. Yeah, just use your imagination. It was kind of crazy. It was just nuts. That's some dirt that people were asking me last year. Have you ever had any kind of crazy things? Well, here's another one. There's a coal mine. We didn't visit the actual coal mine because they're turning the property there in West Virginia. It was a coal mine, thousands of acres, and they're turning it into like this natural preserve and all this stuff. They're trying to let the environment heal and all that stuff. But you can take this dirt road through it, and we made several videos about this trip through there. But when we were kind of scouting the place out, it was at night. And we started down this road, and it was the scariest, black, dark. I'm talking about dark, no stars, because it was almost raining just a little bit. And it was absolutely terrifying. You remember that part of Virginia, when you watch our West Virginia videos, you'll hear me say this all the time, that a lot of the time we are in one of the most remote places east of the Mississippi. I mean, it is in the middle of nowhere, not compared to some of the places we visited in Colorado or Arizona, of course. But if you're east of the Mississippi, well, let me put it to you this way. You've heard me say this before. Half of the U.S. population lives within 500 miles of Richmond, Virginia, which isn't but about 4 or 5 hours from where I'm talking about in Virginia, or West Virginia. And yet there's nobody there. Like, there's nobody lives there. There's no lights. It's the darkest skies east of the Mississippi. So people with telescopes go out there, and it's crazy. They're all packing. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, but they'll have their telescopes set out there on Spruce Knob. Some of the astronomers will come out from the local universities, and they'll set their telescopes up. Matter of fact, Carol and I, on one of our videos where we talk about doing that on Spruce Knob, there was this wonderful professor. And, I don't think he would ever watch this channel. This wonderful professor, he's up there. And I was trying to figure something out on our telescope. Carolyn's already shaking her head because teachers that are called to teach, like God has designed them to teach. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever had that teacher that they got up in the morning excited about teaching and you loved going to their class? That's this guy, okay? Here's the thing, though. I didn't sign up for that class. I'm just saying. He's great, but it's cold. It was cold. I mean, even though it was summer, it's on Spruce Knob. They're on the western wall of the Allegheny Mountains. So all those cold fronts come in, slam into the mountain. Gets pretty chilly quick at night. Carolyn's like freezing. We're wanting to get Saturn in, take pictures, Jupiter in, take pictures, maybe get a shot of Mars, maybe something else, and get out because it's getting cold. But love his heart. This mighty, mighty teacher began to teach. And teach. And it was almost like the anointing of God fell upon him, and he was trying to win over converts for telescopes and astronomy. And I couldn't because I love teaching. I'm a teacher. I love teaching. And so to hear somebody who loves what they do, I just had to give it to them. But for I'm not kidding, 2 hours. We run into that a lot too. We'll bump into somebody and start a conversation, and man, they'll talk our absolute head off. Strong's Adventure. Hey, Billy. Good to see you, my man. Hey, Bill and Mr. Thomas. I found out last night, Billy, I don't know if you caught that in the comments about the Dutch oven. Mom, apparently I didn't get rid of the Dutch oven. I was going to get rid of the Dutch oven, and it's at Mom's, which means I'm going to get it back. Boom. Which means collaboration video time. It's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that when I can get that back. That's if I can pry it out of Mom's hands because, she might want it now. I think there's a rule, 90 days ownership. I don't know, something like that. You guys keep popping in on the comments. We love to hear what you guys have to say. We love to hear it when you guys come back. Again, last night the video was demonetized. I have no idea why. Great conversation, wonderful conversation. And then all of a sudden they say, not viewer, not advertiser friendly. I'm like, what did we do wrong? So tonight I just went ahead and brought the Biohazard book. If they're going to demonetize you, let's just do it right. Again, I bring this book up again. If you didn't catch the first few minutes of this, is that if you go back 20 years, and this was a book that was required reading 20 years ago in one of my classes in an accredited college. And if you go back and read some of these books, it's funny. I'm not making any suggestions here. This isn't a conspiracy channel at all. But the point I'm trying to make is how much in this book, it's not applicable directly. It's just some of the things mentioned here we've heard this year, but not necessarily in the biohazard, because this is about Cold War weapons and things like that. It's just interesting. It's just really interesting. Billy at Strong's Adventure says, heck yes, some Dutch oven lovin'. Dutch oven lovin'. Trademark. Trademark. That's a channel name right there. Dutch oven. How about get you some Dutch oven lovin'? How about that? What do you think? I think so. There's a song there too. There's a song. There's a made for TV movie made by Hallmark. Dutch oven lovin'. Oh my goodness. It's warm. It's gentle. It's Dutch oven lovin'. I don't know. Somebody can go with it. Juan Thomas says, I'm planning on trying to cook pork belly in my Dutch oven this weekend. Juan Thomas, you're crazy. But you can do it. That's very possible to do that. From what I've seen, again, Billy's channel is Strong Adventures. If you're still in here, you love cooking. Even if you don't love cooking, you guys ought to see what he can do with a Dutch oven. It's insane. It's just insane. They can do everything. When I saw his wife, because his wife, she does all this stuff. When I saw her make pastries in the Dutch oven, that was it. That was it. I was like, I'm done. I can't believe this. I think another thing early on when I was watching his channel was cornbread, if I'm not mistaken, or biscuits. May have been biscuits. And I was like, I've never seen anybody make biscuits on an open fire. I know people have done it throughout history, but I've just never seen somebody do it. It's really cool. Billy does. I agree, Juan. His channel is absolutely amazing. It's warm. It's inviting. You feel like you're right there in their backyard with them. You just want to get you a Pepsi out of the fridge and just sit there and just enjoy it. There's some other YouTube channels too that are like that. There's a fishing channel that I've gotten addicted to. He's not a part of our community here, and I don't feel comfortable mentioning his channel's name because I don't know him. But everybody's got their channel on YouTube that you feel like you're a part of the family. I don't know about, do you guys ever do this? This is a small channel, so you kind of are connected. We all are connected. Like as some of you can tell, we kind of know each other at this point, talk to each other a lot. But do you ever watch a YouTube channel? It's like a big channel, 400,000 subscribers or whatever, and they get 50,000 views per video. Do you ever watch one of those videos and all of a sudden you feel like you know the creator? And like if you saw him, you would just step up and talk to him or her and be like, hey, how are you? Yes, I was going to comment on what you said. And let me explain this. Do you ever feel that way? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend ever doing that. I'm just saying, don't ever think, because you don't know him, I'm just saying. Violet Johnson, AKA Mom, says, I feel like a part of your family. Not really. Mom, oh my gosh. And you know how she said that. I feel like a part of your family, but not really. Guilt. Anybody else have a mom that guilts them all the time? That's my mom. Billy Strong's Adventure says, I think the bigger conspiracy is why did they get rid of Opryland? That is the conspiracy. That and the road to nowhere. We just dropped one viewer right then. Carolyn pipes in, Mom, you are family, best member of the family. So I'm trying to figure this out. Last night we averaged, I think the concurrent viewers, you can't trust it the first 24 hours because it bounces around. But just by watching the little clicker on the side, I think at most points we had 10, 11, 12, 13, something around there. And every now and then we bump up to 14. And then it had like 106 views by the next day or something. I don't know. But my question is this a format worth pursuing often? If it is, it's wonderful to have interaction with you guys. But it seems like it's a lot more fun when the interaction is on y'all's. And like I said, for me, I'm just the facilitator of the chat. That's really all I am, is here to let you talk and be funny and try to come up with funny topics. Anybody this year, just being curious, I've noticed something because, we're all wearing the mask most of the time, right? What I've noticed that's been hilarious, this is really funny with the mask, is I am still the only one that wears a normal white mask. I preached a funeral today. God love his soul, and we'll miss him and the family. Our condolences to the family. But it was a graveside funeral, of course, and the masks that people were wearing, they were all colorful, and like it was artistic. It was like people put lots of thought into this or spent lots of money. And I'm still out there in the white mask, that you buy like 30 in a box. And, it's just kind of crazy. And here's why I'm saying this is because Carolyn bought a Mickey and Minnie mask. And I'm like, for reals? Like, I'm like, because this is a total commitment right here.
You don't have to wear a white one anymore.
And if you don't like this one, if you don't like that one, you got this one. This looks like a superhero. Look at my ears. It doesn't even fit around my ears. Look at that. And this is like a superhero. And I need a hat. It's just kind of crazy. And hats off to the people who, when all this started, and this is when I realized that God called me to something specific, because the smart people in business here on YouTube, as soon as this stuff started, all back in March and all that stuff, or February, they started selling these things, and people bought them, and they made a lot of money. I'm just saying, I look back and I go, wow, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that? A lot of work went into it maybe at first, but now they're just rolling in the cash. Juan Thomas says, yeah, he's talking about Billy's shows. Really enjoy it. Yes, it's awesome. Billy says, anyone's mom that will take care of her son's CI when he forgot about it is great. The Dutch, absolutely right. Juan says, I only wear a mask if I go to the store and they ask. We've got a lot of viewers that, it's kind of like that. The whole mask thing, it's weird, and I've avoided. We are definitely getting demonetized now, by the way. I've avoided I try to avoid the conversation with people, because people are heated about one way or the other. They're very heated. And so I try, as a Christian, I try to be sensitive to the other person's needs. If they need me to wear a mask, I wear the mask because it's not hurting me. There are situations I can't wear one, but for the most part, I wear them to the store and to the restaurants or whatever, even if it seems at times kind of crazy. Now you have now I've contaminated Carolyn's mask. Yeah, I have. Because when we sleep in our bed, it's 6 feet apart.
No.
No, it's not. I get this much of the bed.
Yeah.
We have a Paul Bunyan king size bed. No joke. Gift from my mother. Very grateful. Mm-hmm. Have to keep talking about mom because she's in here, But we really love our bed. We love our bed. We need a new mattress, but those type of mattresses are hard to find, blah, blah, blah. But we love our bed. It's huge. It is gigantic. Like 5 people could sleep in there. Trust me. We had all three of our kids during a storm one night years ago, like 15 years ago. They all got in bed with us. So it was like me and Carol and 3 kids in one bed, and we could like roll around. It was hilarious. I get this much of the bed at night. And then I got up one night to use the bathroom, and I looked where she was and how much room she had on her side of the bed. It was like 18 feet. It was like cars were parking on her side of the bed, submarines. It was on my side of the bed. I'm barely there, man. I'm barely there. No wonder I'm having back problems. It's your fault. Christopher Hines says, I wear a black mask. I work in the prison system, and they have to look professional. Hey, what's weird? Speaking of like having to wear the mask, I have seen people wear masks in a kind of not that situation because that's pretty specific, but other situations, and it looks like a part of the uniform. It just looks normal. And like you said, in the prison system, prison system, you have to look professional and sharp, and there is a way to make the mask look, to whether it's a solid color or whatever.
Face diapers.
Chris Brown says, I liked wearing the neck gaiter. I've seen a lot of people wear those. Juan says, Chris Brown, that's understandable. And then Billy at Strong's Adventure, he says, well, he was just agreeing with Christopher. Mom says, I think I look better in a mask. She's fishing for a compliment.
She got one.
You're beautiful. Chris Brown says, face diapers. There's a sweet pastor that I know that she pastored about an hour from here, and she said the one good thing about the mask is you don't smell each other's breath. And I was like, you know what? That's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, there are positive aspects. I love to watch people laugh. I love to make people laugh. And so that part is difficult for me because whether I'm preaching or whatever the case is, I try to use humor all the time. I'm not saying I'm funny. I'm just saying I really enjoy making people laugh. When I don't see them smile, I guess that's the part that I hate about it. And right now, as we're so, this is controversial, and it's like it's
stay away from those.
It's over. It's just over.
Forget about it.
In the time that we're living right now, we're so divided that I'm so torn because it's like I feel like we need to see each other's face right now. We need to get that confirmation, that you're talking to a human. It's one of the reasons why I really enjoy these live chats to say, hey, we're human here. We're human. If you voted one way in the election, we don't care. If you voted another way in the election, we don't care. You know, let's laugh in this forum. I hope this channel, a dream for our live stream would be that people from both sides of the aisle come together and we laugh about ourselves and enjoy nature and the stuff that Carol and I bring week after week around the U.S. as best as we can, and say, hey, this is what we're able to show you, and then laugh about our own selves. Right now, we're so divided that nobody wants to even pick on themselves, which is healthy. It's healthy to examine your own silliness and go, man, I'm being ridiculous about this. I've gone too far, and laugh about it. And we're just in a time that it's very difficult to do that because we're so one-sided about everything, so defensive over our territory of beliefs. You know, this is what I believe, and it's I don't think it's productive at all. I don't think it's going to help us. I think it's better to smile and try to find some kind of common ground. Juan Thomas says, if you can smell it, you're way too close. Amen. Strong's Adventure says, but when your apprentice toots, you can still smell it. Yeah, see, I don't know how that is. I'm telling you, y'all are missing out in the chat room if you're not joining us in the chat room. By the way, if you've just joined us, I want to welcome you again for the second half here of Vlogmas Part 3. Again, Vlogmas is going to be interesting this year because I realized what was so painful and difficult about Vlogmas last year is trying to put together a video every day, editing, cutting. And so what you end up doing is shrinking your videos down to 5, 6, and 7 minutes. And I thought that was cool. The only problem is you can't put all your advertising in that length of time. So I'm going to plug a product, but it's YouTube, so it's not an official plug. And that is YouTube Red. If you do not like commercials, now you watch them maybe because you like your favorite creator and you don't want to skip them because you want to help as best you can. Another way that you can help creators and still not watch commercials ever is going with YouTube Red. It's not that expensive. I think it's $10 a month for like one person, but there's a family package. I can't remember how much it is. I'm telling you, you will watch more videos if you get YouTube Red. And they're not paying me to say this, but I really enjoy YouTube Red because you get music with it that you don't have to worry about getting interrupted all the time, one commercial after another one. I can't stand commercials. I really don't. Outstanding. I'm trying to catch up here in the comments. There's just so many. I thought about getting on here and starting to read some Shakespeare to see how long I could keep people. I don't know if you guys remember Andy Kaufman back in the day, mid to late 70s and the 80s. Bless his heart, he died of cancer, if I'm not mistaken, or leukemia, one or the other. But he was just out there in his comedy. He went to one college, and instead of doing his comedy act, he read through a book on stage. And he just did gags like that. He did a gag with a wrestler on David Letterman show that for years, people thought that it was real. This guy was crazy.
You got someone talking about our road to nowhere.
It's just an outstanding, he was an outstanding actor. But anyway, I was going to get on here and read from Shakespeare just to see what happened. Looking at Blood Raven says, I've heard of the road to nowhere. We had one where I grew up in Pennsylvania, but now they made it actually go somewhere. So it's no longer a road to nowhere. It is a road to somewhere. There was a series of videos, with my Road to Nowhere video that you can watch. It's in the catalog. It's one of my earlier videos. And of course, I make videos differently now than I did then. But there was a series of videos in that time period that, you know what, I'm proud of them because I understood what I was trying to do and I was accomplishing what I was trying to do with the knowledge that I had and the material and the equipment that I had. So I go back and watch those and I go, these aren't bad. They're not terrible videos, but I'd make them different now. I make them a lot different. I'd say videos that go 20, 24 minutes, 25 minutes, I'd like to get back into making some of those and make them better. Just make better videos, make longer videos. But the problem is, over time, they make you money. Over time, people will watch over, a lot of them. But man, attention spans these days, come on. Attention spans, let's say I'm watching the count of people coming in and out of the room. And if you notice, It's about every 5 minutes. You'll get a changeover. People signing in, people leaving about every 5 minutes. So if it's not happening in that first 5 minutes, you lose people. So a 20-minute video where you're telling a story, which I want to come back to here in a second about telling stories and videos. In a 20-minute video, you get a beginning, you get a middle where your meat is, and then you get your conclusion to your end. Your beginning better really sucker them in. And I've told this story a couple of years ago, but just to briefly tell it again, another video that I get a lot of flack for, and I deserve it, is the Cumberland Tunnel conspiracy. It's supposed to be a gag. It's supposed to be satire. It's supposed to be ridiculous. What I did really well on, because I really tried hard, is keeping people watching the first 8 to 10 minutes of that video. So many of the comments are like, I can't believe I watched this video for nothing. And I love it. It's hilarious. It's sad because I feel bad because they're not going to subscribe. And back then I wasn't thinking that way. Like, look, you don't need to offend the people who are visiting your channel with videos that don't really go anywhere. But I mean, I just kept building it up and kept building it up, and it really didn't go anywhere. And so I learned a big lesson by that. But to this day, I mean, it still gets amazing views. It's still out there, still getting views. So I learned a lesson. But I want to come back to something that I did learn from Casey Neistat. You may not like everything Casey does, but I would check out his channel. No, I don't know him. He's one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform. He's an independent filmmaker. He has a video of him snowboarding through the streets of downtown New York that is just absolutely amazing. He is an artist. He's just an artist. But he gets up close and personal with the camera all the time, talking to other content creators and things like that. And I've learned so much from him. And he did this video one time about what he tries to do in his videos. And he's brilliant. He basically said every video needs to be a story. You need to have a beginning, and then because you're introducing what you're doing. And then in the middle, you are basically introducing the conflict. Every story has to have a conflict in the hero cycle, if you will. And then, of course, you have an ending where you have your conclusion, your resolve, and here you go. So even if you're doing an 8-minute video on how to change a spark plug in a car, you would follow that format. And I've been experimenting, trying to figure out how to make mine and Carolyn's videos in that format. It's not easy. It's difficult sometimes. But we did one where I just came out and said, this is a story, and it was on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's called Changing Seasons, Changing the Subject is the name of the video. Changing Seasons, Changing the Subject. Go back if you get time, if you haven't watched that video. Changing Seasons, Changing the Subject. It's on, just go through the catalog. You'll find it. Watch that video. I really enjoyed making that video. I was experimenting, and I would love a critique like, hey, this is where you messed up. Bryn G, who I cannot believe Bryn G has not been a part of our, because she's such a faithful subscriber. She's there all the time. But she made a comment on my last video that is so true. She said, I'm a little confused in this video, but I enjoyed it. And it was the last video in the Rocky Mountain series, the first video in the Vlogmas series. And it was confusing. I knew what I was trying to do, but I was trying to rush. It just didn't work. Reading through the comments here, Billy at Strong's Adventures, he said, my attention span is usually 10 minutes on a video. It's about right. And he said, now lives and premieres hold my attention because of the chat. Me too. I really, really enjoy this format. I love it. What was frustrating last year during the same time period when I was trying to gear up to do this for the next year, first of all, is equipment. We're still having issues there. It's a matter of priorities of doing what I want to do. So when I can't do something at its best where it's presentable, it's difficult. But what I've learned is we may have to do it just like this for a while until we get there. I've learned that. But I agree. I think the format, exchanging ideas or exchanging humor, exchanging pleasantries. I think that's fun. Exchanging pleasantries. I knew what I was trying to say. Billy says, love the Christmas tree carol. It's pretty. It's blurry back there, but it's beautiful. It says, love the Christmas tree caroling. I know that was all you. Oh, look, buddy. There's a story about the tree that's for a later Vlogmas. Okay. There's a story there. It's a Christmas story. But that tree is actually 3 feet shorter than it's supposed to be, because we used to have cathedral ceilings. If you go back to our early videos 4 years ago, we lived in Chattanooga. Now we live in Virginia. And so we had cathedral ceilings in that house, and the tree could be taller. We got here, got the tree out, went, oops. And so I had to literally MacGyver the tree. You have no idea what's making that. It was me, Billy. That was not Carolyn. Now, she decorated the tree. Good job.
You string the lights, but that's all
I did the lights.
That's all you do.
And I did surgery.
I don't let
on
you
this
get the
tree.
ornaments. I'm always afraid you're going to break it.
Oh, you're killing me. Chris Brown says, you need to have apocalyptic doom and gloom titles. Works for Paul Begley. I don't know who Paul Begley. I need to look up Paul Begley. I don't know who Paul Begley is. Here, I used to, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when conspiracy theory videos were at their height, their zenith, you know, the floodgates were open on conspiracy theories. I mean, man, there was everything. You name it, it was on YouTube. I've said this before. I had a blast watching those videos. They're hysterical and they were entertaining. And the better the quality and the crazier the conspiracy, the more I enjoyed it. I realized later that there are people that those videos affected. I realized that later. But they didn't affect me. They weren't changing my vote. They weren't changing, you know. I saw them for what they were. Somebody, you know, going, I believe this way and I can edit videos and I'm going to make a story. And a lot of times it was just, I'm going to make a buck. They knew what people would watch and they were trying to get people to watch their videos. And so back then, the gloom and doom, I thought of going that route with my channel. I really did, because I thought it'd be fun. And then I realized credibility issues, you know. I didn't want to be known as a conspiracy theory. I didn't want to be known as that. I started realizing just a few years ago that it really does affect people. When I made the tunnel video, the tunnel, not the tunnel of nowhere, but the Cumberland Tunnel, when I made that video, I had no idea that literally hundreds, if you go through the comments, how many people take some of the things that I say in there seriously. And I'm like, what do I have to do to let you know this is fake? I'm being silly on this. Like, some of those conspiracies, some of those theories are really out there, but they're ridiculous. I even have a tinfoil hat on in a part of that video, and people still comment about either agreeing with that conspiracy or disagreeing with it, or whatever the case is. But read the comments of those videos. They're actually a lot of fun. A lot of people give me a hard time, but it's still funny. Clat 109's back. Good to see you, buddy. Says, I think it's kind of sad that people have such a short attention span these days. I think it's the cell phone. Yeah, I think that's the cell phone, and you know, you can touch. I think we kind of know what we like faster now. We're used to, you would browse around for a minute, look at something, kind of examine it. But now we're kind of, I know I'm having to make videos differently now than I used to. I can't, when we're in the mountains and stuff, I have to keep the action and the camera going all the time. And I can't let my viewers see the same thing for more than 4 or 5 seconds, because if I do, they will start clicking off. And analytics, YouTube does a phenomenal job at providing analytics. I can look up when people ditch on a video. So there'll be a scene that indicates I don't need to do that in the next video, because people don't like that. They turn it. They thought it was too silly or whatever, but you know, you can mark that spot where they lost interest. And so then I've got to make a decision, because sometimes my viewpoint conflicts with the viewer. What do you do? I am an artist. Okay, maybe not, but you know, there's times where I like something in a video and I like it where it's at, but nobody else does. What do you do? And so at first, it's like titling, you know, you were mentioning, you know, use apocalyptic gloom and doom, which that's going to be funny, because tomorrow night, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the end of the world or something crazy. That's funny. And we'll get it. The people that are in here or who have watched it, we'll all get it. Nobody else will get it. But I'll put end of the world tonight or something, and you know, insane. Maybe I shouldn't do that, YouTube. I don't know. But anyway, I lost my total train of thought chasing that rabbit hole. I really did. I don't know what I was talking about now. Oopsie. Were you even paying attention? I was like, no, you lost me too. Anyway, trying to catch up here on the notes. Carolyn Marion, Billy says, Carolyn Marion, yeah, I drag it out of our attic and I'm done. That's right. You pull it out and say, here, honey, it's yours. We live in a duplex now because it's close to the church, and our storage is actually downstairs, pretty steep stairs. I want to say, how many of those plastic boxes? We have 8 plastic boxes. The big plastic boxes.
Well, for the tree alone.
For the tree and
the tree alone, there's 4.
And we have the Dickens Village and all that stuff. I had to carry all that up here.
There's probably a total of like 16 to 17.
You would think we're decorating for the North Pole. Like, seriously, you'd think that we're setting up and no, it's like we're carrying all the stuff up one at a time. I remember back when Billy was telling us to do what we're doing right now. He was, make Carolyn a moderator. I was like, how do you do that? But it actually works brilliantly. I remember that back in the day. I don't know if some of you remember this or not, but it was, I think a couple of years ago, not last winter, but the winter before that, there was some kind of comet meteor shower. I'm not for sure. And so I set up live. I don't know how many of you remember this, but it's a hilarious show. I set up live to try to capture what was going. I don't remember what it was, a lunar eclipse. I don't know.
It was blood moon or something.
Blood moon or something. Yeah. But anyway, I'm setting the shot up, and of course, it dawns on me when I've gone through all this work. We had 1,000 people on the live stream. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Oh my gosh. And could not get the moon into focus. Nope. But the funniest part of that video, that isn't the funniest part. It was the chat room that made it absolutely amazing. And if I could do that over, I think I would have hammed it up and kept making mistakes and just kept messing up. It was the blood moon. Juan remembers. He's like, it's the blood moon. Yeah. And so then I did a fake news conference afterwards. Like, we're still making videos. I'm not so embarrassed that I'm not going to do it anymore. I don't know why we've dropped by 6 people. We've dropped like 3 people in the past 2 minutes. I'm so offended. Here was another thing. So I don't get hurt when people thumbs down my videos. A little. All right, look, I'm a baby. Okay, I get really hurt. But because here's what I don't get. It's like, I want to go, what didn't you like? Sometimes if you do a video about a topic and they agree with you, they don't understand that they're thumbs downing what they don't like about something that you said that is bad. You know what I'm saying? But if you're thumbs down in a video, what didn't you like about it? It's like, I almost want somebody to thumbs down and then provide reason. What was your reason? What did I say that made you mad? So last night, we had one person hit the thumbs down button, and I'm going, I don't get it. Tell me in the comments. We were just talking. It's just kind of weird. Listen, if you're going to be a YouTube content creator, whatever, YouTuber, you got to check your feelings at the door. So when I say get hurt I'm playing, you have to, some criticism is actually very helpful. And I've actually learned a lot from criticism in the comments. What I would say to anybody on any YouTube channel, on your favorite YouTubers, and if I'm one of your favorite YouTubers, hooray, great. But always comment, always hit the like button, because that's usually why you're not getting notifications. But not always. Mark from Boston, I don't know if he's in here tonight or not. He never gets notifications for our channel. He is subscribed. He comments. He goes to our Facebook page. But he has to go to our Facebook page to get notifications. And I don't know why. We try to notify YouTube. Then I get this standard thing back from YouTube, like, it's none of your business. I don't know. It's what it feels like sometimes. Billy says, look at our Christmas in the Park video from a year ago. Oh, wait a minute. I remember that. And they're all decorated and stuff at the Are y'all doing that again this year?
I didn't watch it. I need to watch it.
You need to go. It's really cool. They what they do, I'm going to tell you this, but I want you guys to go over to Billy's channel and check it out. Billy posts a link, and people can jump over there if they want to, or open another browser. That's fine. But essentially, they go to this RV park together because he's an RVer, and they decorate for Christmas. It's cozy. It just looks. I can't explain. It's like Billy lives in Texas. That's the other thing, and you're not going to get snow. Oh man, watership down. We dropped our, where you plug everything, extension cord, electronic thing. For some reason, the screen got dim. Apocalypse is on us. Anyway, in Texas, you're not going to have to worry about cooler weather, or cold weather, the snow coming in. So it's like being out in the country, and having your RV set up, but you're still in Christmas mode. So it's cozy. It's nice and cozy. Billy says, thumbs up, thumbs down. At least they looked at the video. Exactly. And that's the attitude that you have to have, that the opportunity was there. And just because somebody thumbs down a video does not mean that they didn't like the video. I've learned that too because of the comment section. And then they'll come back and say, yeah, I had to thumbs down this because of whatever. And it didn't have anything to do with the creation of the video. It had to do with something that they agreed with you, but they interpreted that as I'm supposed to thumbs down that. Where am I getting? You live in Texas, Billy. He says, no, I live in Louisiana, but that's what it is. You live right by Texas. I had a meeting tonight, a wonderful meeting with somebody at our church, and another minister. We had a great time, but we've been sitting in these hardback dining room table chairs since 7 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to sleep good tonight. I came on here late tonight, and I do apologize for that. And that may have something to do with our view count too, is that I came in here late. And the reason why is because of our schedule, but I think that's just going to have to be the direction that we go this next year when it comes to doing live streams. We just do it when we can and not worry about a schedule. That seems to be working better for me right now and keeping me on target. By the way, guys, and I mean this to all of you, if you're interested in helping us with these live streams, like whatever ideas, if you want to help moderation, you want to talk about us, or excuse me, you want to talk to us about ideas and be a part of that, man, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. What I would do is go to Facebook, and our Facebook page is at Bill Marion Life, or you can go through the About page at YouTube. It's just that sometimes it takes a little longer for me to get email that way. I don't know why, but my email address is on the About page on YouTube. Let's see. Christopher Hines says, I live in the People's Republic of Colorado. I'm going to retire to Wyoming in 6 years. Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Wyoming is beautiful. I think that's next on mine and Carolyn's list. That's what we're praying for. We hit Arizona. We hit Wyoming, Colorado. I would love to just go back to Arizona or Colorado. I've got to say that because in Arizona, we were there for very tragic circumstances. So we didn't get to really experience it. I did a lot of videoing, but we didn't get to experience it. Colorado was my daughter's wedding. We had like 2 days to kind of run around, but it's just not enough. I guess what I would love to do is spend about 2 weeks in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. But as far as quantity goes, I think Wyoming would be next on our list. I don't know, though. It would kind of be cool to go back to Arizona just so I can run up to Nevada if I wanted to, over into California. That'd be kind of cool, too. Looking back here at the messages here, Clat 109, have you ever been to Indiana? That's where I live. Yes, I have been to Indiana, right outside Indianapolis. I was a kid at the time. And it seems like I've been there since I was a kid, but I don't remember why. Why would I have been to Indiana?
I commented. I've been.
Carolyn had family, and
you
do have family there, and that is where you ate corn right off the stalk.
No, that was in Georgia.
That was in Georgia. See, I got the story messed up. Indiana is pretty cool. Indiana's like from my memory or whatnot. It's like Ohio with less Ohioans, you know? That made sense to me and probably no one else. Juan Thomas says, Billy Bill doesn't know one state from the other if Carolyn didn't tell me a thing he's in Kentucky. Well, you don't know how true that is. When we're planning stuff, I know what I'm doing most of the time and whatever. But when we get in the field, when we're on the field chasing the story, Carolyn usually has. I'll tell you something that I'm proud of Carolyn for. Like, holy cow! Because of the military, because of my dad, I know how to read a topographical map well, and I can rock it. And it took her, I don't know, about 3 trips in the mountains, and now she's rocking the topographical map. Like, she's getting better and better. And I'm going to give her a compass this next year, like so we can step out. She can do some. I'm going to make a video about it too, about how you can determine your location without having to have your cell phone. These skills are important. Like, everybody's going to their cell phone. They're so, they rely on that GPS when they're out in the woods. And I'm like, you need to be able to read a compass and a map, It's kind of cool. She's getting better and better too. Juan Thomas says Indiana is the one state I have not been to yet. I think there's a lot of people that you have to think about what's in Indiana. No offense to anybody from Indiana, but what's in Indiana? You have to think about why you would go there. Boy, that does sound mean. I don't mean that mean towards people from Indiana, okay? Trust me. Christopher Hines says Estes Park was closed temporarily. Yes, it was. And I say that on this last video. Let me say that Estes Park, the town, wasn't closed.
Yes, it was. They were told to leave, baby.
Oh, but not when we were there.
I commented. I said they arrived literally right after they lifted the evacuation.
But here's the thing: Trail Ridge Road, which is a famous road, kind of like the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's not, but it's a long highway through the mountains, and it's a 48-mile long stretch. It was still closed because of the forest fires. That was very disappointing, and I didn't even know how amazing that was and what we were missing until I got back and started doing stuff for our videos. And I was like, wow, we really missed some amazing places. Pikes Peak was amazing the day we went. And considering that we were there early winter, it's shocking that it was open. To my knowledge, it's not open right now at all. And we got to go all the way up to about 6, what was it? How many miles?
I think you're right. I think we were like 6 miles.
6 miles from the top. But you can see the top right there. You guys that have seen the video know what I'm talking about. I really wish we could have gone to the summit. That was so disappointing, but we knew what we were getting into. By the way, I didn't talk about how they charge up there. You have to pay to be on Pikes Peak Highway, and I understand. I really do. It's accessible. It's beautiful, and I didn't complain. I accepted it. So it's like $15 a person, I think, and then I think it maxes out at $50 a car.
Yeah, you get once you got the car full.
If there was 5 of us, it's $50, $10 a person. Is it worth it? Yeah. It's like every bit of it. I've heard through the internet grapevine that when you get to the top, like in the summer, that they have these donuts up there and they're amazing. And the cool part is you can't really save them for the trip down because as you're going down the mountain and decreasing in elevation, if I'm not mistaken, the donuts shrink and they lose their puffiness or whatever. Kind of cool. Clad says we have about half the population of Ohio. Yeah, it's which if you watch Stranger Things, isn't that set in Indiana? I think so. I think it is. Billy Strong's Adventure says we are not doing Christmas in the park this year. Oh, we have been having issues with the truck, and Rhonda is in the medical field. Oh goodness, she just had 2 people test positive.
Fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana.
Right, Billy. I'm very sorry. Y'all hang in there. I'm sorry because I know that's a great tradition for you guys. So just hang it. We'll watch the video from last year and celebrate together. It's funny because we're not going anywhere for Christmas. I'm not sure if my kids are going to even be able to come up. It may just be Carolyn, myself, and Dad. And Dad's always at the VFW, so it's probably just Carolyn and myself. Christopher Ryan says my church has a men's retreat in Estes Park, normally in February, but who knows in 2021. Oh my goodness, a men's retreat in Estes Park. I want to go there. We loved it. When we drove in from Denver, we stopped at the Walmart. What's the name of the town? I don't remember the name of the town. Longmont. We stopped at Walmart. Walmart, you know what? Walmarts everywhere are the same. So it's like you go into Longmont's Walmart, and we felt like we were back in Virginia, Tennessee. So you're not feeling it yet. It's cold, but you're just not feeling Colorado yet because it was dark. You can't see the mountains.
Well, it wasn't dark yet.
It wasn't dark yet.
It was a blizzard.
And so, but not yet. It was just a little snow here and there, a little flake here and there. And by the time we were ascending up the mountain towards Estes Park, Katie barred the door, blizzard. I mean, it was crazy. Cars sliding everywhere. And I'm going to be honest, I was terrified. We were in a minivan and we're heading up because if you've been there, and I'm sure you have, Glad, because you said that you've had a men's retreat there, that mountain going into Estes Park, when it's icy, it's icy. You can't do anything with it. It was insane. Juan says, sorry to hear. Oh, he's talking to Strong's. Clat 109 says, Stranger Things. I've been really into that show for the past few weeks. I've watched every season. Season 3, a letdown. Like, what are you doing? Like, there were moments. There were moments in season. I'm not spoiling anything. No spoilers here. Season 3, somebody just jumped off. They're like, I don't want to know. Click. Just jumped off. Season 3 is like, So I don't know. Billy at Strong's Adventure says, there is a Walmart 8 miles from everywhere.
Pretty much.
Yes, there is. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hey, we are really at a standstill with the universe when it comes to how we buy, sell, and trade goods, aren't we? It's so weird right now. My stepdad, he does the Amazon thing. He loves the Amazon thing. So, he click, and he's ordering stuff, and it comes in the boxes. And it's interesting because my stepdad has kind of converted over to Amazon. So that's interesting to me. Like, that's how we're doing commerce right now. I'm not into it yet. I still like going to the store. I miss malls. I do. As much as I hate the Nashville Mall, I talked about that in that video of Opryland. I love malls, but malls are just faux pas. Nobody wants to go to a mall, especially in 2020. You should try the Cog Wheel Railroad. It's the train that climbs Pikes Peak. Yes. And it's on the list. Love to go back. Love to go back. Billy was telling Christopher that he's done that. It was awesome. We drove it. It was great. What was funny is that I think the elk had just come out of the rut. So if I'm not mistaken, and Carolyn saw 2 huge elk, big antlers and stuff. And most of us didn't get to see any. Crystal, my youngest daughter, she got to see elk. But over there she got to see elk.
We saw the elk in Estes Park.
Y'all saw the elk in Estes Park.
Yes.
But where I've seen the most elk is Flagstaff, Arizona. My goodness.
Yes.
Tusayan, is that how you say it, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Tusayan, Arizona. My goodness. Then, of course, around the rim of the Grand Canyon. I got to be honest with you. If somebody said, because I think it was Clat 109 was asking where we would go next, or where do you want to go next if we could. Here's the heart. You're going to sound crazy here. This will sound crazy. If I could go anywhere in the U.S., in the continental U.S., it would be hard not to pick the Grand Canyon again. It would be hard and stay at the lodge like we did last time. We stayed at the Yavapai Lodge. I wish I remember the name of the other lodge there, the oldest lodge. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember it. The restaurants there we found were good, expensive of course, but
El Tovar.
That I would like to stay there, because it's gorgeous. We stayed at the Yavapai Lodge last time, and again, we were having to hang out and wait for something. And so, again, tragic circumstances, but that was sort of like a diamond in the rut, hard times, but hey, we're here. I envisioned us kind of hanging out in the room, but what we basically did is went to the rim of the Grand Canyon, just kind of sat and cried, which was, looking back, was precious. It was beautiful. I'd like to go back under better circumstances. I would love to take my children. That is just something that I've wanted to do. I'd love to stay at the El Tovar and take my kids. Oh, that'd be wonderful. And stay a week. And then from there, though, from the rim of the Grand Canyon, not to stay there all 7 days, but to bounce up to Nevada, bounce over here a little bit, take 5-hour trips, 5 hours, get up at daybreak, take a 5-hour trip, spend 3 hours someplace and come back, do that a few times and run around. So I guess I would love that. Take a few nights to walk around. When the moon was out at the Grand Canyon, when Carol and I were there, she couldn't appreciate it at the time. And honestly, I couldn't either. I just took note of it and tried to take a picture of it. It's so amazing. It's so amazing because it brings out other colors. I know that sounds crazy because it's at night, but it's just glorious. It's wonderful. I don't think there's a prettier place on earth than the Grand Canyon at sunrise. And that's essentially what we got up at sunrise every day. I don't think we slept in a single day. Is that Freckleface 2? I remember Freckleface 2. Good to see you, Freckleface 2. Over the Edge is a great read about the Grand Canyon. I bought it in the bookstore there. Over the Edge. Okay, I'll check it out. We can order that. I will check it out.
It talks about all the recorded deaths happening in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, wait a minute. That's kind of scurry.
That's what she just had.
What am I saying it wrong, Billy? He put El Tovar. Is it Towbar?
I think he was finished reading it.
Oh, okay. He's got El Tovar. Okay, yeah. Sorry, Billy. Man, that'd be scary though. There are a lot of recorded deaths at Grand Canyon. There's also, I was talking to Matt Sieber. He's a And don't laugh, man, because he's like really good at this stuff. He's a Bigfoot expert. Like he runs East Tennessee Bigfoot. He lectures everywhere. He was on that television show about Bigfoot for years and years and years. He was on there, and he's a friend of mine. One of our earliest videos was about Bigfoot, and I just took a shot in the dark and called him, and out of nowhere, and we just struck up a friendship. Probably more important than the video. I really like this guy. He's a wonderful guy, and you know, we've been talking about doing another Bigfoot video that's really serious, and that's, you know, it's kind of crazy, a serious a video. But speaking of Matt Sieber and Bigfoot, but we got on this tangent about the Grand Canyon, and there is some mystery around that place, man. That's fascinating me, and I unfortunately I don't have access to anything that could validate some of the things that are out there about these mysteries. All you'll find is other conspiracies, but you're not really finding any evidence. But there's some really fascinating things about that place. The Grand Canyon and Arizona as a whole, no pun intended, has been on my bucket list for 20 years. I'm not exaggerating. You know, Clad, here's the thing. Right now, I think the park is open. You know, you have to wear the mask and all that, you know, with the different places. But if you're 30 days out, and this was just a month or two ago, you can fly. We could have flown to Denver for $90. I waited, unfortunately, another 2 weeks, and it cost a little over 220, and that's just, it's not first class or anything like that. But that is the least expensive airfare we have ever paid to fly anywhere, and that was from Charlotte.
We started in
Charlottesville, Virginia. You know, we took it, you know, and then it was a bad flight, and the flight was fine, but we had a lot of connections to try to save money. If you were 30 days out and, you know, you saved, you could fly out there round trip, probably for a couple $100. Rent a car, couple $100. You know, economy, small, don't ask for much. Gas, couple $100. You don't really need that. If you're just going to the Grand Canyon and you're staying there, man, I'm thinking you could do it. Let's say, because I don't know if you're married or whatever the case is, but let's say 2 people. You could do it for under $2,000 just to go to the Grand Canyon. And honestly, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Man, it's worth it. It is one of the greatest places of all the places that you've seen in any video. The Grand Canyon, I think, would you agree, is the most captivating. It is the most, it captures you. It pulls everything inside of you out. Absolutely beautiful. Juan Thomas says, Juan Thomas agrees. He says, you'll love it, Clat. There's a lot to see in Arizona that most people don't know about. There is, and that's the other thing. With my imagination and with my curiosity, a lot of times I'd like to spend 2 or 3 months in these places. Of course, I can't do that, you know, but if I could, I would. And just make one video after another one about going deeper and deeper into, like, Juan is from Arizona. Just be like, Juan, I'm going to pay you as a consultant. Let's go. Because, you know, Juan Thomas is a spy. I'm going to keep saying it. It's going to be a hashtag. Juan Thomas is a spy. But I'm going to, you know, you call up somebody like Juan and say, hey, tell me where to go. As a local, like somebody who knows the scenery, you know, they know what's going on, and hear what the locals say. There's stuff in like East Tennessee, for instance. There's the big stuff that everybody goes to, but then ask a local. I remember this person came into this hotel I worked at, and I was telling them where to go. It's like, you can do this and do this and do this. And they listened to me. They came back the next day, and they were tired because it was Lost Creek, Carolyn, in case you're wondering. It was Lost Creek, and they loved it, but you won't see big signs pointing that direction. Then it was there's things like that in every single state where you kind of have to know about it. You have to be in the know to get there. You're not going to find signs or advertisements or anything like that. I would love to do that in Colorado and Arizona and go where the locals go. Know what they know. That'd be really awesome. Reading this here, Clat, you'll love it. And then Billy, it says, tell Bill to stop being a cheapskate. Man, I was just trying to get out there, you know. And I'll tell you about being a cheapskate. And something, if I'd have jumped on those tickets to Colorado when I should have, which means I should have turned it over to Carolyn and let her manage that whole thing because she's good at that stuff and I'm not. We could have flown first class for $200. No, I'm not kidding. Round trip, $200. And I'm like, I'm a fool. Because it's not that the flights were bad. You had to wear, you know, a mask the whole time. I can handle wearing the mask the whole time. That's fine. I think no, it's bad. I think that's it. And it's also you have to pay for your luggage. It was miserable because all of us had luggage galore. That's something on our next trip, which I haven't talked to Carolyn about it. She'll probably throw something at me when I say this. But on our next trip out there, I'm pretty positive I'm going to try to reduce the amount of luggage we have somehow because you're just lugging that through the airport and it's ridiculous. Juan says, go to Four Corners and Window Rock area. And we have a lot of good fishing also. You know what? I can't believe you're saying that. Here lately, I have been craving to go fishing, like passionately. I've been watching a lot of fishing on YouTube. And I don't even like catfishing. But there's this guy that fishes for catfish on a canoe down in Tennessee waters, Tennessee River. And then there's this other guy, Adventure Creek Fishing or something. I've been watching their channel all the time and just loving it. Clad says, what I'd really like to do is drive to Arizona. I love road trips. Road trip.
Me too.
Carolyn wants to do that too, but see, I've done that road trip a bunch when I was a kid. And yeah, so once you get out west, that's half the adventure is being on the interstate looking around. That's great. But then there's that, I want to say 9, maybe 10 hour part getting out there once you've left the Appalachian Mountains. Let's pretend you're around my area here in Virginia or within 400 or 500 miles. You got to get out of this area. Then you get into the flat. It's just flat for miles and miles and miles. And like, you're like, it's going to end soon. You've been driving 5 or 6 hours and it's still flat. I will say this, if you take 20, to some extent 40, but if you take 20, from the east to the west to go out west, when you do get into the flat areas, you do start feeling out west. I want to say, what is it? The Panhandle of Texas around Amarillo, definitely. You're feeling it. Even though you're not getting what we show in a lot of our videos, you're getting cowboy world. You're getting cowboy world. You can get a great steak in that area. One of the best steaks I ever had that I still remember when I was a kid. I was like 12. And Mom and Dad stopped at this place. We were on our way out there, I believe. And it was the first time I ever ate like an onion raw. I remember, it's weird that what you remember because it came with a steak and the steak was so good and the onion had just been sitting on top of the steak and I wanted to eat everything about it. I was a grown boy. What can you say? Juan Thomas says, do you know who Olive Oatman is? There is a town named after her near Kingman. Why does that name sound familiar? I don't remember. Then Strong's Adventure says, Bill, Carolyn is your Rhonda. Please listen. It really works out for the best. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You are so absolutely correct. Well, listen, guys, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Look for more. And in at different hours. It's possible that some of you guys that can handle this late shift, because I'm looking at the clock and going, I need to go to bed. But it's possible that I pop up on a sunrise, which may be too early for some people, but you can always join in later and watch the repeat. But because I'm planning to go to the mountains and like just go to the top of a mountain and start a live stream where I can get a solid signal and hang out and us just talk. We did that before. It was a great success. Be good. Be safe. God bless you. And I'll see you at Vlogmas 4.